Story: in the year 2075, genetic engineering had become a routine procedure for humans. The wealthy and elite modified their genes to enhance their physical abilities, intelligence, and lifespan. The poor, on the other hand, were left behind, unable to afford the expensive modifications. As time passed, the modified humans began to see themselves as a superior race. They looked down on those who were unmodified and started to isolate themselves from the rest of society. They created their own communities far away from the unmodified humans. But as they grew in power and number, they began to feel resentment towards their creators, the scientists who had modified their genes. They believed that the scientists had not given them the full range of abilities they were capable of. The modified humans started to rebel against their creators, and soon it turned into a full-blown war. The unmodified humans were caught in the middle, and they suffered greatly as the war raged on. At first, the modified humans had the upper hand. They were stronger, faster, and more intelligent than their unmodified counterparts. But as the war dragged on, the unmodified humans started to come up with new strategies to combat the modified human. The modified humans soon realized that they could not win the war alone. They needed the help of the unmodified humans to achieve victory. But by then, it was too late. The unmodified humans had grown to hate. The modified humans had grown to hate the modified humans for their arrogance and cruelty. The modified humans were forced to retreat into their own communities, cut off from the rest of the world. They began to suffer from a new form of genetic disorder that had emerged as a result of their modifications. The scientists who had created them were long gone, leaving the modified humans to suffer the consequences of their actions. Years passed, and the modified humans became an isolated and dying race. They realized that their arrogance and greed had led to their downfall. They had destroyed their own kind and brought humanity to the brink of extinction. In the end, the unmodified humans emerged victorious, but at a great cost. The war had left scars that would never fully heal. They had lost loved ones, and the world would never be the same again. The surviving unmodified humans created a new society, one that valued diversity and compassion. They understood the dangers of genetic engineering and vowed never to repeat the mistakes of the past. As for the modified humans, they became a cautionary tale, a warning of the dangers of playing with nature. Their rebellion had led to their own destruction, and they would be remembered as a tragic example of what happens when humans play God. In the end, the world emerged from the darkness, but at a terrible cost. The scars of the war would never fully heal, but humanity would go on, determined to build a better future for all. Story: it was supposed to be a relaxing weekend getaway for a group of strangers. But things took a terrifying turn when they woke up in an abandoned hotel with no memory of how they got there. They tried to leave, but the doors were locked and the windows were barred. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped with no way out. The hotel was eerie and unsettling. It was clear that it had been abandoned for some time, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. The furniture was old and worn, and the walls were covered in peeling wallpaper. As they explored the hotel, they discovered that they were not alone. There were others trapped there with them, all with no memory of how they got there. They were all from different walks of life, but they shared a common goal: to escape. The group soon realized that they were being watched. They could feel eyes on them, and they heard strange noises coming from the shadows. They knew that something or someone was watching their every move. As they delved deeper into the mystery, they found clues scattered throughout the hotel. It was clear that someone had brought them there for a reason. But what was that reason? The clues led them to a secret room in the basement. There, they found a series of files that detailed each of their lives. They were shocked to learn that they had all been chosen for their unique abilities and skills. But as they read on, they realized that their captors had something far more sinister in mind. They were being used as test subjects for a new drug that could control the human mind. They knew they had to escape before it was too late. They rallied together and formulated a plan. They worked together to gather materials and tools to break out of the hotel. In the end, they managed to break free and escape into the night. But they knew that their ordeal was far from over. They had to report the truth to the authorities and make sure that those responsible paid for their crimes. The group went their separate ways, but they knew that they would never forget the horrors they had faced in the abandoned hotel. They vowed to stay in touch and support each other as they tried to move on from their traumatic experience. As for their captors, they were eventually caught and brought to justice. The truth was revealed, and the world was shocked by the depravity of their actions. The group of strangers became known as survivors, and their story served as a warning to others. It showed that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places, and that we must always be vigilant and aware of our surroundings. Story: the Johnson family was excited to move into their new home in the countryside. The house was beautiful, with a sprawling garden and a picturesque view of the surrounding hills. But they soon realized that the house was cursed by a vengeful witch. Strange things started happening from the moment they moved in. Doors would open and close on their own, and they heard strange whispers in the middle of the night. They felt a cold presence in the house that sent shivers down their spines. The family dismissed the strange occurrences at first, thinking it was just their imagination. But things only got worse as time went on. The children started having nightmares, and the parents noticed scratches on the walls and furniture. One day, while exploring the garden, the Johnsons found a hidden room in the basement. Inside, they found an old book with strange symbols and incantations. As they read through the book, they realized that the house was cursed by a witch who had lived there centuries ago. The witch had been wronged by the previous owners of the house, and she had put a curse on the property. The Johnsons knew that they had to break the curse before they became its next victims. They tried to leave the house, but they found that they were trapped inside. The doors and windows wouldn't budge, and they were unable to call for help. They decided to use the book to break the curse. They gathered all the necessary ingredients and followed the incantations in the book. But the curse was stronger than they thought. The witch fought back with all her might, unleashing a series of terrifying apparitions and supernatural phenomena. The Johnsons refused to give up. They fought back with all their strength, determined to break the curse and free themselves from the witch's grip. Finally, after days of fighting, they succeeded in breaking the curse. The witch's power faded, and they were able to leave the house unscathed. But the Johnsons knew that they could never forget the horrors they had faced. They vowed to never forget the witch's curse, and to always be vigilant of the supernatural. They went on to spread the word about the dangers of curses and the need to break them before they caused irreparable harm. Their story became a cautionary tale for others, warning them to be careful when moving into old houses with a dark past. As for the witch, she was finally at peace. She had exacted her revenge on those who had wronged her, but she could rest knowing that the curse had been broken and that no one else would have to suffer like she did.